He's written about his life in his new book, The Most Famous Musician You've Never Heard of. Please welcome Andy Cahan.
One of the highlights of my life was meeting Harry Nilsson. I did a radio show with Flo and Eddie. They were on K-Rock after Howard Stern, and they had a thing at Universal City Studios with 40 radio stations across the country set up in tents. Each radio station had a tent with the truck, with the satellite dish, and they did interviews with hundreds of celebrity musicians. Roger Daltrey and Harry Nilsson and Paul McCartney and Elvira and Eric Burden and Bobby Hatfield and Dean Torrance and all these celebrities. And my job, I had my keyboard in the tent, and I had a limousine. So my job was to pick up Bobby Hatfield or Harry Nilsson or Elvira and take them to the tent. And then we'd all do Happy Together, because Flo and Eddie were the Happy Together guys. And then we would do that artist's hit song. So Harry Nilsson was one of the guys. So I drove out to Hidden Hills, and I picked him up at his house, and I opened up the back door of the limo, and he says, I'm sitting up front with you. So there he is, the guy that the Beatles loved as their favorite singer-songwriter. And he was sitting next to me, and I'm going, holy shit, you're Harry Nilsson. You're the guy. You're the guy the Beatles love. And so we just really hit it off really good. And my girlfriend at the time smoked Virginia Slim's 120 Lights, the long, skinny cigarettes. So I was hooked on these long, skinny cigs. So I go to light up a cig, and he had Camels, right? And he looks at me, and he goes, you're not going to smoke that, are you? I said, oh, why? And so he handed me the Camel, and so we're both sitting there smoking Camels. And then he proceeded to just talk Beatles. So we were stuck in traffic on the 405 for an hour and a half, and that's all he did. And we were smoking a cigarette and talking about the Beatles. And he said that Mama Cass and Keith Moon, they both stayed at his London flat, and they both died in his bed. Mama Cass and Keith Moon both died in Harry Nilsson's London flat. But that's the kind of stuff. And, he would tell me stories that he was flat broke, and they needed food. So he would wear a trench coat and go to the liquor store and put his hand in the pocket of the trench coat like this and rob the liquor store with his finger in the pocket and to get food for his mom. And this is all true stuff. And there was really one funny time, I got to tell you. He was such a character, and he was so intelligent and so funny. But we went to a car wash, and the guy says, your car's too dirty. So Harry says, put it through again, But on the way there, we were going to smoke a joint, and he says, you got a lighter? I says, no, you steal all my lighters. I don't have any lighters. So we're at the car wash, and by the cash register, there's a bowl with lighters in it, like hundreds of lighters in this bowl. So, he goes to pay the car wash, and the lady is at the cash register, and she looks down, and then he, in about half a second, whoosh, grabs a handful of lighters and puts them in his pocket. And then after we left the car wash, he takes the lighters out of his pocket and throws them at me. He says, here's your fucking lighter. So it was really, Harry was the best. We would be smoking a joint in my living room. I recorded 35 songs with him on a 4-track cassette. And he had a Shure SM58 mic, and we recorded, all original songs and cover tunes. We smoke a joint and laugh and stuff. And one time we were smoking, and there was an ashtray right in front of him. And he started laughing, and the ashes blew up in his face, so it covered his glasses in ashes. So we were laughing our asses off, and I went like this with my finger, like a windshield wiper, on his face to get rid of the ashes. I mean, you know, the stuff that we went through, going over to Timothy Leary's house. He would pick me up at midnight. He had 6 kids and a wife at home, and he didn't want to be home. He wanted to hang out with me like a bunch of high school buddies. So we would drive around, we'd go over Timothy Leary's house and, you know, hang out with him and, do stuff with him. Go over to Joe Walsh's house. Go over to Bill Martin's house, who wrote Harry and the Hendersons. He also wrote a hit record for the Turtles and Linda Ronstadt. Anyway, so just hanging out with Harry Nilsson was like the most amazing time in my life. And then the thing happened. It's like a premonition. I was in Hollywood, 1968, when I first moved out here, and I'm sitting at my harpsichord, and I had a premonition that a Beatle was in my house. And he was sitting next to me, and he took his shoes off. So I thought that was cool. Wow. And then in 1992, Harry Nilsson brings Ringo Starr over to my living room on Laurel Canyon, and it was 100 degrees out, so I had to turn off the air conditioner to so it wouldn't get picked up on the mic and all that. So Ringo did all this children's stories narration. And then, he sat down right next to me, and he took his shoes off. So that was that premonition that I had a Beatle in my house when he sat down next to me and took his shoes off. So that was really cool. And then after that session, we went to Ringo's house, and he had the couch there, and he was sitting on the couch. Harry was in a little lounge chair, and I was on another couch here. And there was a red and blue acoustic guitars with a Ringo Starr inlay in the fret. So I said to Ringo, "Do you mind if I play your guitar?" "Oh, no, it's okay, sure." So I picked up the guitar, and I start strumming a G chord. Ding, chang, ka-chang, ka-ding, chang, ka-chang. And then Harry goes in his baritone voice, because he lost his voice because of John Lennon doing the primal scream during the Pussycats album. Harry couldn't sing high anymore. He was baritone and tenor. So while I'm strumming the G chord, he goes, "Listen for your footsteps coming up the drive," in the low voice. And the song is in the key of C. So Ringo starts singing along in the key of C. So they're singing in fifths. So it was hilarious singing this Ringo Starr song with Harry in Ringo's living room.